The Sunday brunch setting at the Bennett family estate was picture-perfect, from the hand-carved mahogany table to the imported crystal mimosa flutes. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, highlighting the pretentious oil paintings my father had specifically chosen to display his wealth. My sister Victoria sat at her usual place of honor, practically glowing in her designer outfit, while I'd chosen a simple black blazer and slacks. "Another mimosa, Miss Bennett?" Our longtime housekeeper asked Victoria, who barely acknowledged her with a nod. "None for Sarah," my mother interjected before I could respond. "She needs to drive back to her apartment." She said the last word like it was somehow distasteful. I checked my phone discreetly beneath the table. Another notification from my executive team about the Global Towers acquisition. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. "Now then," Father cleared his throat, setting down his sterling silver fork. "As you both know, your grandfather's estate has finally been settled." He pulled out 2 envelopes, his expression already giving away which one held the prize. Victoria, as the one who's shown true business acumen working at my firm these past 5 years. I suppressed a smile, thinking of Victoria's actual role at Bennett Investments, showing up late, taking long lunches, and relying on her assistant to handle anything requiring actual thought. "You're receiving the family mansion," he concluded, sliding the thicker envelope toward her, along with the corresponding investment portfolio. Victoria's perfectly manicured fingers snatched up the envelope. "Daddy, it's perfect. James and I can move in right after the wedding." "Sarah." My father's tone turned considerably cooler as he pushed the smaller envelope my way. "Given your unusual career choices, we've decided it's best to provide you with a more modest inheritance. The studio apartment on Cedar Street should suit your needs." My phone vibrated again. Another update. Final contract signed. Press announcement scheduled. "A studio apartment?" Victoria laughed, waving the mansion deed. "Well, it's more than you deserve, really. What even is your job these days?" "Something with computers." "Property management," I said softly, taking a sip of water. "Oh please," Mother rolled her eyes. "Managing that tiny complex on the east side hardly counts as a career. Victoria's managing entire development projects." "Is she?" I asked mildly, knowing full well that Victoria's projects consisted mainly of showing up for photo ops at properties our father's company had already developed. "Don't be bitter, Sarah," Victoria smirked. "Not everyone can be successful. Enjoy your tiny apartment. Maybe if you work really hard, you can afford to rent one of the smaller units in one of my buildings someday." My phone buzzed again. Global Towers acquisition complete. All 300 luxury properties now under your control. Press release in 5 minutes. I smiled into my coffee cup, enjoying the last few moments of their assumptions. The tiny complex they thought I managed was actually the testing ground for my property management software, now used by every major luxury real estate company in the country. That success had funded my first acquisitions, building slowly and quietly into what was now the largest luxury property portfolio in 3 countries. "Speaking of property management," Father began, his tone dripping with condescension, "perhaps it's time you considered a position at Bennett Investments. Something entry-level, of course. We could start you in leasing." My phone lit up with an incoming call from my executive director. "Right on schedule." "Excuse me," I said, standing up. "I need to take this." "Really, Sarah?" Mother sighed. "This is a family brunch. Your little rental office can survive without you for 1 hour." I stepped away from the table, answering the call on speaker. "Ms. Winters, the press release is going live. Global Towers acquisition is complete. All 300 luxury properties are now under your control, including, I believe, the Bennett Investment Holdings." I turned back to face my family, whose expressions were frozen in various stages of shock. "Thank you, Amanda," I said clearly. "Please proceed with the announcement." The mimosa glass slipped from Victoria's fingers, champagne spreading across the deed to her precious mansion, which as of 5 minutes ago was actually mine. Father's face had gone pale. "Sarah, what exactly?" "If you'll excuse me," I said, gathering my purse, "I have an emergency board meeting to attend. We'll need to discuss the new management structure for all acquired properties." I paused at the door, allowing myself one small moment of satisfaction. "Including, of course, this mansion." The silence behind me was deafening. Breaking business news. The massive TV in the dining room suddenly blared to life, making everyone jump. The family's attention snapped to the screen where a polished news anchor appeared, her expression professionally excited. In a stunning move that's shaking the luxury real estate market, Global Towers International has just completed the largest property acquisition in the past decade. The previously mysterious CEO Sarah Winters has acquired. Winters. Victoria choked. But you're a Bennett. I changed it legally last year, I said calmly, remaining by the door. Didn't want the family name influencing my business dealings. Acquiring over 300 premium luxury properties worldwide, including the entire Bennett investment portfolio, the anchor continued. The deal valued at $4.2 billion. Father's coffee cup crashed to the floor. $4.2 billion? Sources confirm that Ms. Winters, age 32, built her empire quietly over the past 7 years, starting with a revolutionary property management software that's now the industry standard. That little program you were always working on? Mother whispered, her face draining of color. The one you told me to stop wasting time on? I raised an eyebrow. Is that one? It's now used by every luxury property management company worldwide. Including yours, father. The TV continued, showing images of gleaming skyscrapers and luxury complexes. Global Towers holdings now include the prestigious Sterling Square development. But that's our biggest property. Victoria shrieked, jumping up from her seat. Daddy, do something. The acquisition includes all Bennett investment holdings. My executive director Amanda walked in, tablet in hand. Ms. Winters now owns controlling interest in every property, including this estate. Impossible. Father stood up, his face flushed. I would have known if someone was buying up our properties. Would you? I asked softly. Like you knew what was happening with the Sterling Square development? The one Victoria was supposedly managing. Victoria's face went pale. How did you know about the structural issues you've been hiding? The safety violations? The bribes to building inspectors? I pulled out my phone, showing a detailed report. I knew everything. It's why I moved when I did. Another month and the whole project would have collapsed, literally and figuratively. The business world is buzzing with the revelation that Sarah Winters, until now known only as the property empress in industry circles, has been the driving force behind the most successful real estate innovation of the decade, the TV continued. Mother's hand trembled as she reached for her wine glass. All this time, while you thought I was failing, I finished for her. Yes. While you were giving Victoria the mansion, I was buying the company that owns it. My phone buzzed again. Amanda showed me the tablet. Stock prices were soaring. Your sister's going to fix everything. Father turned to Victoria, desperation in his voice. She knows property management, she can. No, she doesn't, I cut in sharply. Victoria knows how to spend money, not make it. The only reason Bennett Investments hasn't collapsed is because my software has been catching and correcting her mistakes for the past 2 years. Victoria sank back into her chair, the mansion deed crumpled in her shaking hands. Ms. Winters, Amanda spoke up. The board is waiting. And the mayor is on line 1 about the Sterling Square situation. Sarah, please. Mother stood up, her voice trembling. We can discuss this as a family. Like we discussed my inheritance? I smiled coolly. Or my career choices. Or the countless times you dismissed my work as a hobby? The TV was now showing my official corporate photo taken last week. Sources say Ms. Winters' net worth is estimated at over $7 billion. Making her one of the youngest self-made female billionaires in the world. Father reached for the papers in Victoria's hands, his fingers trembling. The mansion deed is now under Global Towers ownership, Amanda confirmed. Along with all other Bennett investment properties. Ms. Winters has full control. But where will we live? Victoria's voice had lost all its earlier confidence. I checked my watch. A subtle Patek Philippe that cost more than the car father had bought Victoria for her last birthday. Well, I hear there's a nice studio apartment available on Cedar Street. The one you thought was so suitable for me. The silence in the room was absolute, broken only by the continuing news coverage of my company's triumph. Now if you'll excuse me, I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Victoria. About the mansion, you might want to start packing. Global Towers has different plans for that property. 2 weeks later, I sat in my penthouse office atop the Global Towers headquarters, reviewing the changes implemented across our newly expanded portfolio. The wall of windows offered a commanding view of the city, including the now rebranded former Bennett investment properties. My intercom buzzed. Miss Winters, your father is here. Again. I glanced at the security feed showing my father in the lobby, his usually impeccable appearance notably disheveled. His third visit this week. Send him up, Amanda. The man who entered my office was a far cry from the imperious figure who'd handed out inheritance envelopes at brunch. His shoulders were slumped, his designer suit slightly wrinkled. Sarah, he began, then corrected himself. Miss Winters. I've brought the revised proposal. Sit. I gestured to the chair across from my desk, the same premium leather chairs he used to have in his office. He placed a folder on my desk with trembling hands. You'll just look at these numbers. Victoria's been working day and night. I opened the folder, scanning the desperate attempt at a business plan. Victoria's been working? Or did you hire someone to create this? His silence was answer enough. The Sterling Square situation alone would have bankrupted Bennett Investments within months, I said, closing the folder. The lawsuits from the safety violations would have destroyed everything grandfather built. We can fix it, he pleaded. Just give us back control of some properties. Like you gave me that studio apartment? I raised an eyebrow. Besides, it's too late. The Sterling Square reconstruction begins next week. Under proper management. My phone lit up with a message. I glanced at it and smiled slightly. That was the mayor's office, I said. They're very pleased with our new safety protocols and community investment plans. The ones Victoria should have implemented years ago. Father slumped further in his chair. Your sister. She's not taking this well. You mean she's not taking responsibility well, I corrected. The trust fund she's been living off? Frozen, he whispered. All our accounts are under review, I nodded. Standard procedure during an acquisition of this size. Especially with the irregularities we've found. The intercom buzzed again. Miss Winters? Your mother and sister are here too. I checked the security feed. Mother looked as polished as ever, but Victoria's designer outfit couldn't hide her distress. Send them in. They entered like chastened schoolchildren, a sharp contrast to their behavior at brunch 2 weeks ago. Sarah, Mother started, then faltered at my expression. Ms. Winters, Victoria corrected her quickly. We wanted to apologize. For what specifically? I asked, leaning back in my chair. For mocking my career? For mismanaging properties that put people's lives at risk? Or for assuming I'd need your charity? Victoria's face crumpled. The mansion, our home, will be converted into a technology innovation center, I said firmly. With a focus on supporting female entrepreneurs. The kind of support I never received from my family. But where will we live? Mother's voice shook. I pressed a button and a holographic display appeared above my desk showing property listings. Global Towers has several suitable apartments available for lease. At market rate, of course. I smiled slightly. I hear the Cedar Street studio is still available. You can't be serious, Victoria burst out. After everything you did? I finished. Consider this a valuable business lesson, Victoria. One you should have learned years ago. Never underestimate someone just because they don't broadcast their success. I stood up, smoothing my Armani suit. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting. Amanda will show you our available properties. I suggest you choose quickly. The mansion renovation begins next month. As they turned to leave, defeated, I added one final touch. Oh, and Victoria? That tiny complex on the east side where you thought I worked? It's now worth more than all your failed development projects combined. Proper management makes quite a difference. The door closed behind them and I turned to face the city skyline. My empire. Built not on inherited wealth or family connections, but on intelligence, hard work, and the sweet satisfaction of proving them all wrong. My phone buzzed with another message. Forbes cover story confirmed for next month. The property Empress. How Sarah Winters built a real estate empire while her family wasn't looking. I smiled, remembering all those family brunches where they dismissed my computer hobby. Now, sitting in my penthouse office watching my family leave in the building's security feed, I realized the best revenge wasn't just success. It was success they never saw coming. I picked up my coffee cup, a simple one, not the ostentatious crystal they'd always preferred, and toasted my reflection in the window. To the tiny apartment, I whispered, and everything it led to. The sun set over my city, casting a golden glow across the Global Towers logo now adorning what used to be Bennett investment buildings. Sometimes, the smallest inheritance can lead to the biggest empire, especially when they never see it coming.